Yeah,
last.
I think it's like the last gasp.
Let's hope so. We're getting it all out of our system. Good.
So Trish, check and see. And hello, everybody.
The next few minutes, you got to go back in your mind to when you were a kid. This
Are we? Does it show live for you? It does. Okay. Hello, everybody. This is Love Coach Scott Katamas with Trish and our special guest for just a few minutes. We've got Ben Bowler, who has put together World Unity Week. And we are celebrating World Unity Week all weekend long, starting off with tonight's Straight Talk. And Ben is the guy who made it happen. We're going to hear a little bit from Ben, and then we're going to be joined by Jon and Sommer Ramer, who are going to help us to know more about how to actually participate in World Unity Week. But with no further ado, Trish, you want to get us off to start with a question for Ben?
Yeah, totally. Let me see if I can recall it in my brain. Ben, what I asked before and what I really want to know is what unity means to you and how you see, you see it, how you see that we can actually change the world with a new conversation about unity and how that, yeah, I really love what you said before, so go take it away.
Push repeat. Well, great to be here with you, Trish, and thank you, Scott. It is good to be here on Straight Talk, and it's World Unity Week has started. It's the 19th of June here in Australia and other parts of Asia, and we've begun. So it's great to begin with you guys here. And Trish, what does unity mean? I think that the heart of it is unity is who we are. I mean, we are unity. We are one people on one planet. We are one interconnected system. You know, what happens to one part of the world affects everybody else, and we've never experienced that with more clarity than over the last 18 months. So unity is our state. However, we're not experiencing unity because we're caught up in a different state of consciousness, which is antagonistic, where, you know, between races, between nation states, between religions, there is this sort of antagonistic power sort of battle, which is a dominion mentality, which is trying to dominate, and that is not causing unity to flourish. That is causing the opposite. That is actually generating disunity. And it's the disunity where some do get a short-term gain. And I want to be upfront about that. There is some short-term gain for some when we fight and we're at war with each other. Some people get extremely rich out of that. And there is great power in the hands of a few because of that. So, you know, moving from that to a state of natural unity, unity is essential for us to survive. And now, with 8 billion people on the planet, we've got to go there. We've got to get there now. This urgency has never been more palpable. The state of the planet, the ecological degradation, the disappearance, of species, this whole domination mentality, might is right and power for a few. It is actually making us all sick. So the remedy here is for us to go back to our original wisdom of our traditions, of our ancient indigenous wisdom and knowledge, and the faith traditions and the spiritual and all the resources, incredible banquet of wisdom on the planet, which is limitless, and to really draw upon that to help us navigate these waters from where we are to where we need to be, and where we need to go to together, which is a place where everything belongs, where everyone is welcome, where all the cultures and all the creeds and all the races and nationalities on this beautiful, wonderful, crazy planet can flourish in its natural unity. And that's the transition that we're navigating at the moment. And it's dicey. There's no guarantee we're going to make it. I mean, we're not saying, hey, this is all straightforward and we've got to come to unity. This is really a question mark. Can we do it? Are we up for it? Are we going to be able to get there together? We're hopeful. We believe in humanity, and I think we're seeing more and more reason with the community that's rising to do World Unity Week, Trish and Scott, to believe in humanity. So it's a story, and we need everybody on board to help us, really get across this threshold, including resources and musicians and artists and scientists and change makers of all different colors and stripes. So what does unity mean to me? It means survival. It means we got to come together and really, really be that unity in order to navigate this evolutionary threshold we're all on, for ourselves, for our children's children, for the planet itself. It's urgent, and it's right now.
I really appreciate your talk about the urgencies because it's true. I mean, do you perceive, and you're working with leaders from all over the world. You've brought together an incredible array. And after Ben leaves, since we've only got a little bit of time with him, I'll wait, but we'll show the video. You'll see some of the amazing people who are going to be participating, people from all over the world. Honestly, how hopeful, how optimistic are you personally? How hopeful, how optimistic do you find the leaders you deal with are? And to what degree, being honest, is there kind of feeling like it's too late, or we're not doing enough? What's your personal perspective, and what's your sense of the pulse of the people you work with?
Yeah, thank you very much for that, Scott. I think it's possible to be both optimistic and feel we're not doing enough at the same time. And I think that, ultimately this comes down to you can't take this conversation, you can't completely separate it from one's own personal faith. So I do believe that there's a plan and a pathway, but I think that we are the plan, and we need to realize that. We need to really get with that deep realization. And so there's optimism in the genius of humanity. There's optimism in the brilliance of the field, the knowing field. There's trust in the higher powers, by whichever name you may be comfortable using, that there is a way forward here. So we have to believe, we have to have optimism. We can't do this without hope. Hope's the first step. But then it's really about the getting it done, and that's the really growing up. So I guess Ken Wilber talks about waking up and growing up. Now we as a planet, need to do both those things really quickly. And the growing up is organizations coming together, dropping their organizational egos, working together, finding ways to really shoulder to shoulder focus on the objective, not just our own organizational needs. And that's a challenge sometimes, because organizations do have needs and they need to be seen and they need funding. So there are internal needs there. So what I'm saying, Scott, is I am optimistic. I see even in World Unity Week, we have hundreds of organizations coming together, thousands of people. This year we have 700 volunteers across the planet. 700 volunteers, event hosts and Zoom tech. And I mean, it's astounding. We're seeing, and we're taking a step this year. It only emerged last year. This is really our first proper year of doing it. Last year was kind of an emergent experiment. So yes, there's hope, and it's urgent, and we need to be doing more. We need to be engaging business people, more resources, getting more organized, more energy, more momentum into this. It's now or never, literally. So I do see hope. I think now's our moment, Scott and Trish, to go for it. I feel like the tide's turning a little bit. And the wind might just be getting in our sails here, and it could be full steam ahead. But we all hands on deck, to continue with the nautical analogies there. It's all hands on deck to get this, and whatever people's contribution may be. They may be called to contribute for a social justice cause, or for a musical or artistic, or to create environmental awareness, or plant trees, whatever it is. It's literally going to take everybody stepping into their passion and their calling, and then you can see it and you can feel it, that we can get there, and we can get there all together.
Beautiful. Ben, I'm pulling up one of the promotional posters. So now everybody's taking a look at World Unity Week. And for those of you who don't know, look at the remarkable, and this is just some of the amazing people who are going to be presenting during this week. All these different rooms, and just a remarkable who's who of incredible souls and human beings. As you pull back and take a moment, hopefully, Ben, take a breath and look at what you've created here, you got to feel a lot of pride, yeah?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, in a sense, it's thank you, Scott. That's very gracious, and it's truly the work of many, 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 many hands. So, we feel like we are playing a role, and certainly, I'm encouraged by where World Unity Week is at this year, and yet at the same time, we realize, hey, there's no time to kind of rest on our anything just yet. I mean, this is full steam ahead, and as brilliant as Vandana is, and Deepak and Jane Goodall, and all these amazing people, they can't do it without you and Trish and all these people. I mean, it's really going to take all of us. So while it's great to have household names involved in World Unity Week, the truth is, the real power is the hundreds of volunteers I mentioned before. There are 500 events Actually, I think it might be closer to 600 events across World Unity Week this year in 2021. There are 33 simultaneously casting Zoom rooms going out to all these Facebook Lives. I mean, it's a quite a production. It's emergent. There's a bit of chaos, just in the field because it is so emergent. And yet at the same time, I think that's where I think that energy, that kind of pop puree of all these groups coming together and doing something, that actually gives me as much, if not even more, sense of, yeah, hey, we're going somewhere, as well as having these incredible headliners. You need both. And then, we need big businesses, and we need to make alliances with governments and intergovernmental agencies and big religious institutions as well. I mean, it's the grassroots meeting the institutions that are willing to evolve and willing to be a part of the new earth that's coming. And it's where they come together. And if they're not, well, then, we'll leave them behind. But if they are, then it's like all together, let's go. And so I think that's what gives us a sense that we're moving and going forward, is that we're getting both, Scott, some big names, which is great, the huge volume of people coming in to do their programs, and we're building relationships with the institutions, be it the United Nations, be it even the Catholic Church, whoever. If they're not against us, they're with us. So we're going forward with them. The Burning Man community, I mean, putting them all together to really march forward as one movement on the planet.
And that's what we need.
Go ahead, Trish. Go ahead.
That's what we really need is, I mean, we can be honest about how people move their attention, right? Is that we love to see these big names, and we love to, invest our time and our energy into Burning Man and Deepak Chopra and these, like, this is what draws attention. And that's where the inspiration comes from, is that, oh gosh, if these people are doing it, then that's something that's important. So it's values aligned. That's how we move and change the world. That's how we unify ourselves, like decolonizing our brains and the way we move, and unify our values and our hearts and our movements and literally our actions. And if I may say, is like, what I'm hearing from you is that it is the time now to be in action, to be your action for unity, for love.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%, Trish, 100%. In fact, that's our entire theme this year. So last year, when this emerged, the theme was answering the call, which was kind of like this mystical beginning to this collective hero's journey that we're on. And then this year, the theme is literally, let's do something. So it's like coming together and activating, and also honoring those who are doing incredible things around the planet, be it to end modern day human slavery, or be it to generate, to drive ecological peace building in the Middle East, like EcoPeace, who are a key co-convener of World Unity Week. I mean, really honoring what's being done, and then putting it out at the same time to say, hey, we can all, let's do something. Let's do something together. Let's do something together, and for the water and for the planet. Yeah. Yeah.
I would love, before you leave, to get one more question for you, but I want to kind of preface it. Marshall Rosenberg was a significant mentor for me. And one of the things that Marshall taught that I think is so important that applies, it's like, okay, there's the lofty ideals of World Unity Week, but how do we live more in unity consciousness? And what Marshall taught was to notice when we're in judgmental thinking, and to notice when we're assigning enemy images, even to our friends, our neighbors, let alone people we don't agree with. But anytime we look at somebody, we think, what an idiot, what a jerk, what an asshole, what a bitch. Anytime we do that, which are all human things that most people do commonly, to notice it and to go, oh, wow. Because in creating unity, there's the lofty ideals, but then there's the actual day-to-day, how do I treat my wife or my husband? How do I treat my neighbor, my roommate? So I just want to kind of bring Marshall's consciousness in for a moment. And then that leads to my question to you. What are some of the things you suggest for day-to-day actions for creating unity?
Yeah, beautiful, Scott. That's great. It's an intensely personal journey. I mean, we can't go out and make World Unity Week happen with our ideas and our minds. It's an intensely personal journey, and we talk about it a lot. I mean, the team that's kind of really putting World Unity Week on, it's challenging. I mean, there are a lot of personalities. There are a lot of different groups coming together as Jon and Summer join in. This is great timing. And it's definitely a personal challenge for us to get better and for us to grow. And you're absolutely right, and Marshall is absolutely right that ultimately it's that personal growth and overcoming our own kind of barriers and blocks and judgments and irritations and challenges, and where we make stuff up in our mind about others, whether it's in our intimate setting, in our personal families or close ones, or whether in a work sense. And in this work in particular, there's often a blurred line. I mean, it's not a profession. When you're talking about a vocational mission like this, where people are pouring their hearts and their souls into something, you can't just call it a professional identity. It's the whole person. So, the work we're doing is all encompassing of personal and mission. So I think that it's absolutely true that we're all on a journey towards growing and developing. And I think that's one of the most inspiring things, is that to see the commitment of so many people that we're making to get better, to accept our mistakes, to say, hey, we're not there yet. I'm not there yet. I'm learning. I'm growing. I can learn from you. And together we can move forward. But the most important thing for us, and Jon and Sommer are such a huge central part of it all, the most important thing for us is that we stay together and that we hang together, because this can't fail. If we can't pull this through and maintain the relationships and the connections, even though it is rough sometimes, you're talking about passionate, in some cases, brilliant people with really good ideas all coming together in this huge horde of people trying to row the same direction, paddle the same direction. It's not always easy. But, the important thing is to hang in there and to realize, hey, we're growing. I'm a work in progress. And I think that's really, really important, Scott, to bring it back to ourselves and realize world unity starts here. It starts here. Unity, cosmic unity. Unity starts in the heart. So that's always, I don't think we'll ever be done learning that lesson.
So Ben, I know you need to go, but would you like to, as we transition to putting the focus on Jon and Sommer, share a little bit about Jon and Sommer and their relationship to World Unity Week and their amazing contributions?
Oh, I'd love to. Well, really, it emerged in dialogue, as I said before, Scott, emerged in dialogue, and Jon was central. And, the real World Unity Week emerged as a kind of a container, but then the real genius of Jon was to fill its essence and form with his brilliant, decades of work that he's been iterating and pioneering and exploring and improving and just like relentlessly devoted to finding ways that we can be better together, and using the technology to support that and enable that sign network, and what he's done for years before that. And that's with Summer, the Compassion Games. So Jon's genius in World Unity Week was, hey, let's not just do what's been done before. Let's not just get the famous people like you just pointed out on the poster, Scott. Let's not just have them, talking to the crowd. Let's give everybody a platform. Let's give every voice a box to stand on and share its gifts with the world. And it's a radical idea. It's a challenging idea, and Jon's been absolutely proved to be absolutely committed and true to it the whole way through. And so the first convergence we ever did was World Unity Week in 2020, and it was wild. It was wild. We had people coming in from everywhere doing these programs, and it was an explosion. It was a supernova of content and brilliance, and all beautiful offerings, from music to workshops to storytelling it's just everything. It's literally a whole systems field where everything belongs. So Jon's ability and genius and leadership to create that with Summer, to build those convergences out where everybody has a voice, and there's not the top and the bottom, but it's the whole field coming together. It's really it's the energy that drives World Unity Week. It's the energy that pulses it out, and it's why it's growing at such a phenomenal rate. So it's perfect timing to hand over and introduce my beloved brother and sister, Jon Ramer and Summer Joy Ramer. And it's a true joy that we journey together. And as I said before, the most important thing here is that wherever we get this year with World Unity Week, wherever it happens, it's not going to change anything. We're going to continue. We're going to pick up. We're going to go forward. We're going to keep going and going and going, and keep expanding and keep improving, and never stop. So, Brother Jon is right there in the center of that weave.
Great. Ben, thank you for your time. I'll see you tomorrow night on Saturday Night Live. And by the way, tomorrow night, Ben is our co-host for Saturday Night Live. So we get a chance to see more of Ben then. And thank you so much for taking your time and blessings.
I would love to say something before Ben goes too.
Yeah,
I appreciate that you're bringing in the convergence, but Ben and I and Jon go way back to a convergence that was around a sacred fire in Ethiopia. Is where this has been starting to brew when we were physically together in 2017. 2018. The years just are kind of collide all together. And I'm wearing my necklace from Lalabella, where we had some of the most extraordinary ceremonies. And I would say what's happening right now are the embers of that fire, the convergence of the fire of one love. And, we've been brewing beautiful things ever since. So, I mean, it's just been incredible, brother Ben. And just
oh my
an
gosh,
honor.
I mean, come on.
Here we are.
Everybody that's had a chance to hear Ben
We love Ben.
and appreciate his
Deeply.
gifts
Yeah.
and his commitment. We're not going to fail. We don't know what awaits us. We're on the edge of the unknown, but this is already a success because we are together, paddling together, holding each other up. This is what we're called to do. This is our time. And Ben, you are so strong and so wise and so clear and so devoted and committed.
Yeah.
You are a blessing to this earth. And I've been there with you, and we're doing this together. And you, Scott, and the beautiful community that we have here with Trish, this is what it's all about.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to know how to do this. We've never done this. We're inviting everybody to play.
And I also think it makes it easy to land into these places that are uncharted with people like Ben and the extraordinary relationships that we have been, in that cyclical cycle place of building and trusting and collaborating in ways and trusting what is coming into the field and who's coming and welcoming and opening that welcome in the door for anyone that is in Zoom and that comes to the fire, which there will be sacred fire as
Fire
well.
from the Amazon, the Collectiva Awana.
Into the Zoom room.
I mean,
Yeah.
Tell us about that. Is that
okay, we love you, Ben. We're really busy, and it's so good that we have this time to pause and appreciate what we're all doing together and how your leadership is making this space possible. Thanks for the generosity of including us in this message. Yes, there is a tribe, 500 people, that the Ecuadorian government believes is extinct, that we've been gathering on Zoom and working with, thanks to Brother Phil Lane Jr., Hereditary Chief Phil. And the Collectiva Awana have lit this fire. There's a Anishinaabe prophecy that there'll be a time that will light this eighth fire. What they're saying is that there will be a new people will emerge, and they'll come to a moment of choice. And so many have seen that image of someone looking at, and there's like a beautiful world to the right, everything looks green, and there's a world to the left that looks so dark and looks menacing. The prophecy says that they would choose neither path, but the new people would choose to return back, to turn around and to remember what they forgot along the way. And that's the authenticity. That's the generosity of spirit. We can't afford to just fool ourselves and fool each other anymore. This is real. This is crunch time for our planet. So there's a joy, and yet there's a recognition that things won't be different unless we do them differently. So we're trying things out. We're experimenting. We're inviting everyone to come play. We don't want any observers. There's no viewers of World Unity Week. In fact, there was a metaphor I used to try to explain, because people would say, well, where's the schedule? How come it's not all just laid out neat so I know exactly what's going to be happening when? I said, some people, when it's time for dinner, they like a buffet. We're put out and it's nicely labeled, and you just go up there with your plate. But there's another style of dining, teppanyaki. Have you ever been to Benihana?
love it?
They
Love anyhow.
ingredients out to the table and you cook it together. It happens live. And that's what we're going to be doing for 8 days. All of our gifts, all of our wisdom and brilliance are the ingredients that we're going to cook up together. World Unity Week, we are building a magic canoe. that's moving between worlds. We say, lots of room, everybody welcome. Here to serve our journey home. Paddling together.
Beautiful. Well, welcome. This beautiful transition from that. You guys, love you guys so much.
I mean, come on, that
Everybody who doesn't know, this is Jon and Sommer Ramer. They have been very right at the core of co-creating World Unity Week. They also are who have created the SINE Network, SINE. That is how a lot of you are watching us right now. I'm going to turn over to Trish for a question in a moment, but I always like to include our audience. Welcome everybody in the Zoom room. Mark writes, unity is the resonance point of positive human consciousness. We're all in this together, and like a garden of diverse, beautiful flowers, the sum total, I think is what I meant, is greater than the individual parts, but all the parts are essential. That is so beautifully written, Mark.
Yeah.
See, look, it's coming from everywhere, right?
Yeah. Everyone's in creating this space. Like, this isn't a moment, and you both are such examples of authenticity and that emergent space. I feel that so much from Trish in her self-love show and how she holds that space and is so authentic. And you too, Scott, holding such vast spaces, and yet you still are so human and so able to connect.
No, we're connected. Just yesterday, Trish, Summer's saying, hey, I was listening to that show, and there was this thing we're talking about with relationships.
Yeah, with Anastara, I was in a meeting with, and self-love show came up.
I love that. I mean, we are learning together. We're on this journey.
Yeah.
And part of that is collaborative innovation, but collaborative learning from each other, being open and vulnerable in new creative ways. So thank you, Trish. I'm ready for any question. There's nothing you can't ask.
The weaving of, so I want to banter for just a second. What I'm understanding, and thank you for helping me understand how to weave and network, that, we have to, if we want to create unity and if we want to create equity and justice and balance in the world, that we have to use our privileges to change the world. We have to do that. Like, if we want unity and balance, it's now the time to actually make change and make action. So if I have a platform that gives people a voice or an audience, it's my responsibility. It is my responsibility to offer it, to invite people's voices who are creating and weaving love, connection, and humanizing each other. I'm currently taking an anti-racism course called Heal Thyself, a transformative initiation for people racialized as white. Mm-hmm. And it is extensive. It's like hours of my week. And I'm learning about how we've dehumanized each other over centuries. Right. So that's part of these conversations that we're having. This is part of the unity conversation. And we're having this conversation on Juneteenth, right? This is big. Unity Week starts on Juneteenth. And for all of you who don't quite understand this, is that, well, I might let you guys speak to it, actually, or if you want to, because I think that this is a really powerful time, especially coming out of 2020, and how we watched the global systems of how we relate to each other shift. And I would love to hear a little bit more about what you're seeing, how you've seen it shift over the last maybe couple of years, what you saw shift over this last 2020, and how you see things shifting, like reparations, even if they're not very good things, but the idea in the planet is shifting towards humanizing each other. And I don't really have a distinct or concise question about it, but I'm just gonna pass that thought to you and let you take it where you want to go.
Right.
Yeah, I'd love to start. Well, for one, I just find it fascinating that, yes, it is Juneteenth tomorrow, and just to kind of express and reflect back to you, Trish and Scott, and those of you that are here, that we're making sine waves together for Pato Bonton and Antoinette Rootsdata's Juneteenth event. I can't speak. The Freedom Day event that's happening in Lake Elsinore right now.
We're just doing
On the Self Love Show and on Love Coach Academy's Facebook page, we are making sine waves. So I want to speak to what is happening at this moment, and in the beauty and the it's almost like breathing at this point, making sine waves. And like you so beautifully said, Trish, you're like, I have to support. I can't not utilize and use that privilege of the platforms that we have. And that is so much about, what the Sign Network is about and what is being harnessed, and an opportunity for all of us. And Jon, I gotta tell you, I mean, it is like a super profound team of humans just caring for this magic canoe that's truly going to is opening starting tomorrow. I mean, in Australia, Ben is already in the future. For us, that's in Pacific Standard Time. But this is really an incredible opportunity to practice. To me, the muscle of synergy collaboration is a muscle, and there's always a need to kind of refine and understand more and more about how we learn together, that experience of being in that mystery of okay, I'm going to surrender in this space. How can I contribute? How can I care for what's being held in this collaborative space? So, I think that's kind of mind-blowing that here we are on your platform, and there are sine waves happening right now, honoring the incredible work that I know in the floor of our hearts, that we care for Pato and Antoinette, and the Stand Up for Justice work that is on a historical time, as Juneteenth has been acknowledged finally as a national day to recognize, here we are, our president has signed that. I mean, that's a step that's historical and profound, and I'm honored to be here with you both of you, that you don't just say I'm going to support, but you're also doing it right now. So
thank you. And I'm actually going to show a video recording from Antoinette a little bit later. Tomorrow we're raising money. We always have an organization we raise money for on Saturday Night Live, and tomorrow night it's her Stand Up for Justice, the Jane campaign. We're raising money for.
So good.
And then on Sunday, my guest on Sacred Sunday is Antoinette, and so she's going to be sharing with us all about celebrating Juneteenth. And it is pretty cool that we don't make too many political statements, but I was just going to say I'm so grateful to have a president that is supporting harmony. I read today that he's the most, I always get the letters wrong, but he's the most GLBTQ pro president by far. He got Juneteenth signed into law. I mean, he really is, in his way, doing his best to bring people back together after years of division. And I'm really grateful for that. Yeah. And Juneteenth becoming a federal holiday, it's a big step in that direction. It really is.
Not to be about it, but I'm going to for a second because I'm feisty.
Right, yes, her.
I'm is that, yes, it's a huge step. It's a necessary step. And he could do better.
Well, we all could.
Yeah.
Just, yo, Mr. Biden, if you can hear me right now, I dare you. In fact, double, triple, and quadruple dog dare you to really make a difference.
Yeah. Well, here's a good opening, what you're saying. Let me show you how we're making a difference.
Yeah.
Demonstrate this. Because you've heard people that are listening, what's a sine wave? What are you talking about? Let me say what we're doing, because it started from a compassion game. How do we show our love and care for each other in a creative way? So SIGN is a synergized impact network exchange. So it's a bunch of social innovators committed to behavior change at scale through collaborative innovation and learning and what we call unprecedented unified action. Summer and I are admins on over 250 Facebook pages. That's a sign of trust. And we use this trusted sharing to empower each other. When a member goes live, we turn that live stream into a wave by it being shared. Look how beautiful. Right here on Love Coach Academy, people can also see what's happening right now with Pato and Antoinette and Stand Up for Justice, because you guys are willing to do that, to take the good that you've built and the audience you have and share your audience. We've got to move to the next level of agreements with each other to actually turn the dreams and the visions we have into reality. And that's the opportunity I see. That's the story of our time, there's tremendous novelty. There's periods of habit and periods of novelty. This is a period of great novelty. And during this pandemic, what it's really done in my eyes, it's just softened us. We've all had to pause and took a values clarification about what's really important in our lives. And maybe you've heard the term, the YOLO economy. Have you heard about the YOLO? You only live once. A lot of people are saying, wait a minute, what am I doing with my life? What are we doing together here on this planet? And how are we really going to come together and turn what we have into what we need and bring about the changes we know that we're capable of, but we haven't known how to make those agreements with each other. So I'm thrilled to tell you that we're doing it, that we're an example of what's possible, of how we are better together. This is the story of our time. This is the disruption. We call it a reverent revolution. And that's the image that we hold when we think of a Magic Canoe 2030, that we're going to learn how to paddle together. We don't know, like Ben was saying, we got to be real.
Yeah.
We're making mistakes to learn how to self-regulate so we can co-regulate. One of my teachers, Patricia Ann Davis, says it's intrapersonal holiness for interpersonal wholeness.
Beautiful.
Differentiated wholeness, that we can be whole and we can all be unique and we can love and appreciate our difference, connect through our similarity, innovate through our diversity. These are the opportunities that are in front of us. These are the challenges of our time. It's a challenge to be creative. And I'm just humbled by the opportunity to have the strength, to have the courage, to have the faith and the gratitude. I love you guys. I love the people that are listening and resonate with this message. We need to amplify each other. Come to World Unity Week and come play with us. We got 8 days to show what we're capable of doing together.
And we're doing all of that you just said. It's not in the future. It's happening.
It's happening here. I mean, you know, this is what it's about. It's in the moment. This is a live performance. This is not a classical orchestra playing something that's been scripted. We're going to create it. We're on the edge of the unknown.
So Jon and Summer, what I want to do is I want to read 2 quotes that have come into our chat box. Then I'm going to show the World Unity Week trailer. And then I'm hoping that you'll show people how they can connect, like, you know, steps they can take, all right? But a couple of quotes from Nancy, who's one of our regulars. She writes, and it's very, very beautiful. We are one race, the human race, with 7 billion shades of brown, light, medium, dark, and dark. And the great Trish Wright writes, well, where it is, where were you? There's a Greek. Trish writes, I'm not free until every person is free. We are not free until every being is free. So just kind of put the spotlight on Trish along with you too, because everyone is free.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
If I make it about me, then I'm still creating duality and separation. That there are people in our country who are being sold as sex. There are people in other countries who are still being enslaved. Like this is happening and I can't deny it. I could, but that dehumanizes their experience. So I'm not free until you are free. I'm not free until every person feels comfortable to walk outside at night, to have the food that they need, to feel safe in their environment, and to live a life of freedom, happiness, safety, connection. Like that's the truth. I'm not free because my people aren't free. I'm not separate from them. I'm not separate from you.
Absolutely.
You know, I think the challenge we face is, can you love 7 billion people? can we actually make it okay?
Yes.
That we can all exist, even if we don't agree. I don't have to demonize you. I don't have to kill you. That I can make it, that your difference is legitimate.
Yes.
Honor each other and respect our difference and make room for each other. And we see it happening. I'm very proud of my daughter. I have a daughter who lives in the West Bank, supporting Palestinian rights. She's a Jewish girl, an Israeli citizen. What's happening there now? The young people, in particular through social media, are realizing, no, we need to resolve these differences. We can't ignore them. This can't be managed. All this stuff. Look what's happened with Juneteenth because of George Floyd and people coming out, even in spite of the pandemic. People are on the street saying Black Lives Matter. People are waking up. I mean, this is the time to be alive.
Yeah. And I also think too, I just like, the anti-racism work too. I've done a little bit myself this past year. And I mean, it is really opening up like an infinite ocean of learning as a white-bodied woman at this time, as an American, and learning. And, what I also hear you saying is not only too about loving all and every human, but can we also be with the hurt and actually really listen and make space for those lost souls, in Indigenous people that have on the Trail of Tears. I'm thinking of that particular trail. We recently were on land where the beginning of that trail, Chickasaw ancestry of Hereditary Chief Phil, we were present with, I wanted so much, Trish, to really be with his ancestors. I wanted to crack myself open and see those lost souls on that trail, like every part of my being. To be with that hurt feels also part of that actual love. Like, what kind of depth of love can we really open up here? And I do feel that's part of the anti-racism work is learning and discovering what and how disconnected, like, oh wow, there's such a gap between me and the truth of the history of this country. And then to just get really intimate it's an incredible journey to continually discover how to be with anti-racism. So
and to make safe enough spaces to learn together.
Yeah.
They say in the Indigenous world, one of the things they have that we don't have is a space to empty. Safe and secure places to empty. For us to learn how to maybe say names we didn't know how to say before. The whole thing with identity becoming so fluid. To understand what are these pronouns. Everyone's really needs to know it's okay to not know. We're not going to be able to do it just because we're, somehow going to wake up one morning. No, it takes learning. It takes practice. It takes appreciation. It's realizing that there are different worldviews. I remember from the Amazon, this woman said, there are no addresses in the jungle. It was like, wow. It was like one of those moments. I realized, there are people on this planet living very different.
Yeah.
And to honor that difference and to respect that and to come to understand and to be able to ask questions and it's okay not to know. We're not going to be able to do this if we can't make it all right to say, hey, I didn't get it. I need a little help. Explain to me what this means. Why are people calling themselves they? What is that? And all of it, and the racism. How do we reveal the truth about our unconscious bias?
Yes.
The way we don't have it is a joke. That's almost evidence of you having it, all right? It's kind of like we all do it. That's what it is to be without even thinking. It already happens. So therefore, we got to find safe and supportive places to be able to be vulnerable, to open and learn. Or we're never going to be able to move forward. And we are, though. I see it happening. The story of our time is we're learning and we're moving forward.
Yay.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh.
All right. So you guys are right on. I do want to show this trailer from World Unity Week and bring it to World Unity Week. So a good introduction here. So here we go. Let me optimize sound and play it.
You are invited to experience unity. It's time to put aside the differences that divide us. And embrace the beauty of each one of us being different, being unique, being ourselves. In the essence of who we truly are. A beautiful array of human beings across the planet. So many different ways of being human. So let us get to know each other. Let's spend time with each other. Let's learn from each other. And let's open our hearts to each other. And let's find the unity that exists right in the middle of the richness of our diversity. We are human. We are unique. We are one.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. She's from one of our listeners on Facebook, Fanny Starchild. She's been on our show before. Says, thank you, thank you, thank you. I am in tears, feeling all of your light. I'm so grateful. So thank you, Fanny. Go ahead, Jon.
No, I just want to tell you and everybody the backstory about what you just saw. Because it wasn't made as a promotional video for World Unity Week. So that's called a transformance. And what Gary Malkin and Sarah McCrum and Lewis Roberts said, what we're going to do is create 7 of these to be used throughout World Unity Week, to learn how in Zoom rooms we can bring ourselves together and attune into coherence. So she's in Australia, Gary's in the Bay Area. These were done as improvisations. And I want you to get the spirit of the giving, right? Saying, hey, we all are in this new medium. We want to bring in the sacred. We tell people, take your shoes off before you enter this Zoom room.
Before you get in the canoe.
We're rooted in place and we're meeting in the virtual. How do we make these virtual experiences more profound? And that's Gary and Sarah and Lewis's genius in these. And they're available. We made them available to all the hosts to bring into their events that they're doing throughout World Unity Week. And other artists have brought this. We're really looking to go for a qualitative connection and an experience of being together and of actually committing to do the things we need to do together. So I'm so glad, because you remember you asked me the other day, is there a promotional, it wasn't ready, the promotional video. I said, well, use this. And I'm so glad you got to share it. And I hope everyone saw what happens in our bodies. We just can take 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. Just let's say, hey, calm. A little bit of that goes a long way. And that's Gary's genius and Sarah. Oh my God, they're so incredible. I can't wait till everybody experiences them together.
I love how it just slowed us down.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's just like slowed us down, dropping in presence.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, it's so often these platforms often we are talking heads, and I'm a dancer. I love to push the envelope of what we're doing on these platforms, and I feel that what Gary and Sarah are gifting World Unity Week is such an example of what also is so important to do together in these spaces is not only just what we're talking about and the invitations and kind of the masculine energy, but also really infusing and making space and honoring and blowing kisses on the divine feminine and how we bring those energies together. I also want to speak to that there are ways that are really unusual during World Unity Week. There is this whole Sparkleverse world. So that speaking of, uncharted ways outside of Zoom, there is this Sparkleverse and one world that you can access and go into, and there's a portal to get into, and there's these creative environments that we get to emerge and create art together and dance together and become different kind of imagination creatures. And so there's a whole dimension of this that isn't just on Zoom, which is also very exciting about World Unity Week. So I want to really speak to showing up. To me, I heard that question you were asking, Ben, about what can we do in our daily life? What can we do? I feel like showing up is one of the biggest things we can do in general. Showing up in our community, showing up in that place that we know we want to, or we feel called, and maybe we don't know, what can I do? We don't always need to know what we're going to contribute. Often those are the most mystical experiences when we can just allow ourselves to arrive and feel the call and not really know why, that there will be so many opportunities to do that in this World Unity Week.
So for somebody who's kind of new to all of this, I'm going to the main page. Is this the place to start? Should they start at worldunityweek.org? Where do we go?
Very good place to start.
Yes, so good, Scott.
Now, let me just build on what Summer was saying, okay? And this is a partnership with the folks that built the platform that was used at Burning Man. These are a bunch of very creative folks.
Sparkleverse.
Yes, the Sparkleverse is, and you go to the Sparkleverse, you'll see that's the platform for the virtual Burning Man event this year. So this is Burning Man meets civil society, okay? This is kind of the commons in creativity because, of course, anyone who's been there and been to that festival realizes the power of the principles that they have and the power we have to create and radical self-reliance and radical self-expression. So you will be able to visit. There's a place, okay, where you're going to be rooted in place wherever you are. You're going to meet virtually. We call One World. It's under construction until a few hours from now.
Okay.
Yeah.
On that website, okay?
worldunityweek.org.
All right.
So let me go there and just show us where we go when the time comes.
There'll be a page there. It won't be on the homepage, but because we're going to have we call the one stream flowing there. But there will be One World, O-N-E, just like you see the one down the colors there. One World. Now, in the center, when it begins, is the sacred giving tree of life. And there are 11 spaces on this world. And inside these spaces are these rooms. There are convergence rooms and there are sparkle rooms. And these rooms have been stewarded by some of the most amazing people who are bringing together folks who have events that they're hosting. Over 500 of them. Now, I realize.
So the first step is register.
Yes.
So on that website.
Register.
Yeah, because I just want people to know what to do. So the first step is go here and you register.
Yeah.
That's really all you need to do right now.
Yes. And the rest will fall into place.
Right. And I could show you if you want. I mean, I would love to. You know me.
Yeah.
I could show you okay. So without getting too technical, right? There's a map of these spaces.
And a lot of this will be on the website within the next couple of hours.
You tell me.
Can you allow us to share?
if I have permission to share.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys can automatically share. So
Okay.
I'm turning my sharing off, and you guys can share.
Okay.
Take us on the journey.
Just a little bit, right? Enough to kind of,
Absolutely.
so people know that we're not just all words here. Okay, there's actually something to do here.
You have the Trello boards up.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on. It's a little hard for me to see. All right. That's not what I wanted to get to. Hold on.
Yeah.
All right. There's the home that you were there. Okay. This is something that's the board of boards. So those rooms that I was just referring to, these are all cards. We can give everyone the link. Okay, good. So if you want to learn more about what's going on here, right? Like in room 1, if I click on this card, this is a card, and when it opens up, it's going to give me the chance to get to that board. So there's 32 of these boards full of events and activities that are happening. So let me click on this. It's going to open up. I don't know why it's slow. Okay. And sorry, guys, I must have touched something to get that to open. This is just that board full.
Not the cave.
Okay, we're opened up one. Oh, why isn't it closing here?
I don't know. It looks like we're frozen.
Okay. So look, what this is tomorrow. And each one of these, you see these cards here, like the coherence pulse that Teresa's doing, right? That's going to be. But then each one of these, and if you look through these, I mean, you will see,
there's Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, look at that.
Look at that. There it is.
So you can click on any of these cards. There's a historic treaty being signed between the Ramapo and the Mohawks, who've been fighting for years, are coming together in unity. This is just the stuff that's happening in room 1. It's Kurt Johnson and Jim Garrison on the flight deck of Star Trek.
Wow.
It's unbelievable. This is just one room, okay? So, Dr. Jane Goodall, Otto Scharmer, a lot of really well-known people for sure, but not just that. Because if I go back all the way over here, I could say, all right, let me see what's going on here. We go back to that board of boards. We just picked one of the boards, right? So we invite everyone to come. We could put the link in the chat. You know what? It's slow, the connection here. I don't want to waste your time with this. But you want to see about sacred lands and sacred sites, right? You open that, you'll be able to say, okay, you can learn about what is in the sacred land and sacred sites. I say, okay, let me go to that board. And you'll see programming that. Now, the convergence rooms are going to open on Tuesday because, Monday's International Yoga Day, and there's also the solstice. But then if you look in here, you'll be just moved. I clicked on One Spirit Learning Alliance. They're doing amazing stuff too. Anyway, you get the idea that these boards contain the events.
It's a lot.
That people can go to, that you can go into these rooms and engage around this stuff. So we're not just looking for sages on stages. What we're after is people putting forward solutions and ideas and possibilities and experiences. And some of these rooms are in the Sparkleverse, where they have these micro doses of magic waiting for people to experience. And so you can decide to stay in the one world that's on the web or on your phone or your tablet. You could say, I want to enter the Sparkleverse. And people are going to be a little dressed up, perhaps, using video filters and things. And there'll be music and art and creativity and play. We need to learn how to play together as well as work on all the stuff together.
So there you go. There's a lot.
That's a lot. That's fantastic. So go to World Unity Week, register. We'll get an email, and that'll show us how to get things going once it's all up and going.
Yeah, you'll get emails of invitations to a lot of what Jon just shared.
Fantastic.
And amazing people. Becky Suzek.
Oh my
seriously,
God, the team is unbelievable.
The team there's a constellation team. All the stewards are volunteers. There's, just so many parts and people coming together.
And said that there are 700 volunteers working on World Unity Week. And he made a really good point. I kind of brought up the poster and took a look at, the celebrities. He said, well, the celebrities are great. But what I'm really excited about is we have 700 volunteers. And you know what? That is true. That's really, really cool.
Yeah, this is a chance to get to know each other, like Sarah said, to spend some time together. And then we have an open space on Saturday the 26th.
That's the last day.
Which is the Magic Canoe 2030. Okay, let's do something together. Let's harvest from what's happened. Bring your ideas forward. Everyone can host a session in open space. That's the way it works. So we're really inspired. You could tell we're all living as if this is the moment.
Yeah, well, it is.
No, maybe we're wrong, but I don't want to find out we had a chance and we didn't use it. So a crisis is a terrible thing to waste. And what a great opportunity for planet Earth to unite and to empower ourselves to make the changes we need to make and, find our way home. Remember and awaken. You got to go finish the site.
All right, I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to actually play the Antoinette video that she made for us.
Good.
So, love you guys so much.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you to Trish. God, what you're doing is so meaningful. It's like we've born, and again, we found ourselves. Here we are.
I have a quick actual technical question, which we'll just have to record. For playing Saturday Night Live in the room 1 tomorrow, that just is through Sign Network. We don't have to restream it to anybody. Do you know?
Do it the way you usually do it. We're going to bring it into room 1 as well, but I thought you're just going to go live as you usually do.
We'll go live. So you guys will know how to carry it onto room 1. We don't have to restream.
Yeah, we can put the replay, and that's the beauty of the Trello board that Jon showed. Is there will be the ability, if anything that goes live or recordings, anyone can access that by going into the Trello board and then watching the replay of Saturday Night Live that's happening tomorrow.
Yeah, on demand. That will all be available after the event.
Yeah,
and the event's just another step forward.
It's an infinite space, Scott.
Beautiful. Well, I will see you guys tomorrow night. They're going to be on Saturday Night Live. Love you. Thank you so much. Good luck with the technology gods and goddesses. May they smile upon you with maximum grace.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Love you guys.
Yeah.
All right. Well, take care, you guys.
All right.
Bye.
What do you think, Trish?
I think a lot of things.
That's true.
Which most of you are eager to hear. God, I love Jon and Sommer so much, and I'm incredibly grateful to have met Ben this evening. What beautiful humans who really just, what amazing energy they have as well. I just want to honor the energy that they have to really funnel that into something that's supportive and respectful and so deeply loving of humanity. It's inspiring and it's amazing. And we all get to do our part right now. When they said, what did Jon, I'm not very good at verbatim. He said something like, a crisis is a terrible thing to waste.
Right.
And I was like, oh yeah, the catalyst. Sometimes human beings, well, a lot of the time, human beings need a catalyst to move forward. And we had a huge catalyst over this last year to really look at who we are, our value system, what we're doing on this planet, and to really realign to a more loving place. We all sat in our homes and looked at ourselves, and we looked at the world from a very different way of being. We all sat still to actually slow down and look and to really be present. And I just love that this is the time. Like, we're all here, choosing to be here, to be loving, compassionate, accepting of each other, to be really the people that we're choosing to see each other and hold each other's, like what Sommer said, our pain. We're really willing to look at it. We're willing to hold it. We're willing to hold you in your pain, Scott, and me in mine, and whoever else is there, and to really just be there with it, to not change it or fix it, to unify our life and our world together. Can I make the plug for everything that I want to talk about?
Yes, absolutely. Take it away. And by the way, just so people know, what we are going to do is Trish is going to present this amazing, in honor of Juneteenth. And then after that, I'm going to play the Antoinette pre-recorded video. But Trish, why don't you go ahead and lead with this, because it's really important.
It's really important. So earlier in the show, I did say that I was taking an anti-racism course, and it's more than that. It is a restructuring, a remembering of who we are before we were taught duality and separation. And I would invite you to, Scott, will you pull up the website?
Okay, let me go back and find it.
I invite you to really consider educating yourself on the indoctrination of the way that we were taught to believe. And just to really love up one of our amazing viewers is Nancy, is always really specific about languaging. And we were taught a language on a global level that's negative and degrading and dehumanizing and violent. And to change our language is so important as we hold people in where they're at. And so part of this course is really, you get to look at the places where we have been taught to use this language, to use the language of separation and abuse and violence. And the course that I'm talking about is Reverend Bridge Feltus's work on Heal Thyself, a transformative initiation for people racialized as white. And you get to look at every intersection of social construct that keeps us separate, or that we've been taught to be separate. And so it's a really powerful course. It's 6 weeks. There's a significant discount right now that will only increase as we go through the time. But this is really, really important. And if you really are interested in humanizing each other and really loving each other, this is a powerful course to take.
Tell us, because I know you're taking it. What are some of the things that people experience in the course?
Well, I'm about 3 weeks in, and what I'm sitting with right now is the way that history has been taught to me has been through a particular lens of perception that I didn't see before, but I do now. And that what you get is you get history, you get the weaving of connection again, that we're like the dissolving of the belief that we're separate in any way. We get to look at how these intersections of oppression, which is ableism, racism, sexism, gender, are constructs that have kept us separate, that keep us from in that place of judgment. And that's like part of the work that you and I do, Scott, is really to dissolve the judgments and to be able to love, our own selves in the places that we are taught to judge, as well as love the other person or the other people who are the same as us, just as deeply. So again, it's called the Remember Institute. If you just go to rememberinstitute.com, or is it .org? Well, that you will find your way there. And it's an amazing use of your time and your energy. The rememberinstitute.com, and you can find all the information there if you want to get into that.
Continue talking for a moment, because I'm posting it on the Facebook pages.
Thank you.
Because people are asking for it.
Yeah. So again, rememberinstitute.com, and this is the most in-depth course I've taken. It is kind of like a university level course, and you get to participate with other people. And so you're not alone. They teach you how to restore, like there's tools that you get, interpersonal tools on how to, be a better ally, not a performative ally. There's so many things that you will gain from taking this course that is going to transform your life in the way that you relate and love other people. It's going to transform everyone around you, as well as your relationships with people of the opposite sex, a different gender, a different, whatever skin color. Like it dissolves those filters that you see through or have been taught to see through. And it's so crucial. It's the most humanizing course I've taken, beyond taking yours, Scott, which was also just as transformative. So. I'm grateful that you gave me a platform.
Of course, this is your show, dear. It's your show also. I'm just a little bit dominant because I'm older.
Yeah, that's exactly why.
Yeah, it is.
Well, you know all the people, you bring all the guests. I get you.
But thank you. You know, I love you for your dedication to this, and because I spent a lot of time with Trish, I've watched her doing the homework and really dropping in and listening to the classes and the courses and getting triggered and realizing, in great education, when we learn, there's also an existential crisis that comes with that learning. And I have observed, if you don't mind me naming it, you're in an existential crisis of holy fuck. I had no idea how racist everything is. Just, it's been a real eye opener and heart opener.
To actually acknowledge and own and to blatantly own that I'm inherently racist. We live in a racist society. Our education system is racist. The way that we treat each other is separatist. And to actually that took me weeks to sit with and to just be like, to be really honest, I was like, oh my God. And to even just play, you saw me in a place of also looking at gender as a social construct. Scott, there is no way that if my mom knew that she didn't have to gender me, if she knew that she wasn't going to set me up for a lifetime of being catcalled, lower pay, demeaned, talked down to, she wouldn't have said, my mom's a total feisty, feisty woman. She would have not set me up for any of that just because I woke up in this body with this stuff and an innie. She didn't, I don't think she even cared.
I personally am kind of grateful that you were born in that particular body with the innie. I mean, I know that you're going through what you're going, but I actually, and I don't know how to say it without it sounding like, baby boomer versus millennial, but I actually really grateful that you turned out exactly the way you are.
Me too. I'm super duper duper grateful. And I'm grateful that you have the human skin that you have. I'm grateful that we all have what we have. And because I have so much, Scott, I want to change the world. I want to be a voice, and I want to, use my privilege and power for the good of all. And I want to make it safer on this planet. And the only way that I know how to do that is to show up. It's like what Summer and Jon and Ben and you are doing is I offer services for free. I'm currently, I have to give because I woke up in this body.
Yep. I want to read some, I love you. I want to read some of the quotes from Waterfall. She writes, I'm not sure if Waterfall is a he or she, so I apologize. On Vancouver Island, BC, many of us are standing for the remaining ancient forests to be preserved and never logged. It's challenging to keep a positive view of government, the logging company, the police, and I'm taking on that challenge. God bless you, Trish. Yeah, that is, I really appreciate how challenging it is to be an activist in the trenches, an activist that's actually having to deal with police, corporations, government. I want to acknowledge our friends that are protesting right now in Minnesota to stop Pipeline 3, which is something we've been supporting. We've raised some money for. Yeah, thank you, Waterfall, for your service. It's hard to keep your heart open when you're confronting old paradigm bullshit, and I made that little speech Marshall about learning not to judge. So how do we not judge something that we see as wrong? We get in touch with which of these values are not being met by the action. So we don't judge the being. We acknowledge that there's a choice or a behavior that doesn't match our values. And then we drop into the beauty of our values. So it's not about a certain politician as a liar. It's about, I have a strong value for honesty. And when my value for honesty isn't met, I get angry, I get frustrated. Right? So that's the way to do it. Just a little quickie Marshall Rosenberg moment.
God, I love that you brought that up because that's exactly what I said. I thought in my head. I was like, oh, I hope he says something.
Well, you can always jump in now. You know the spiel.
Oh yeah, I do. I know your work really well.
You do.
Not perfectly, but I'm
I don't know it perfectly.
devotee of your work and Marshall's work, and what I love about what I want to say to that is that when we hate, when we judge, when we find ourselves angry, is that it not only is a pointer to our own values and our own wants and needs, but we're also dehumanizing that being by making their actions as evil. Like, and I know this is kind of controversial, but I've sat in deep loving meditation with some of the most heinous people I could think of, and to see if I could humanize them, even in their crazy, like, and what I've learned from that, and it's taking your understanding, Scott, like I've taken your teachings, I've taken, like, how can I sit in the empathetic place long enough or deep enough to understand what's driving them, what need, value is driving them. And what I found in that is even the most, I mean, I'm talking about the most heinous people I could think of in history, to be, where were they going? What did they want? And what I found out is that most people want connection, belonging. They want to do something, even in their actions, that it's our strategies for getting our needs met become a little distorted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what, I mean, I want to say something really controversial. Can I say something?
Go for it.
I've sat with, the leader of the Nazi regime.
Hitler?
Yes, I've sat with Hitler a lot because I really wanted to understand what it was. What is it? And as I got more deeply into, like, reading some of his journal work and really finding those places, is what I found is that he wanted a better life. He wanted a better life for the people that he loved, for himself, for the like, you know, in that time in Germany, people were still starving from the First World War. He saw people struggling and suffering, and he wanted to help them. And he had this idea of why that happened. So I've sat with that, and I'm like, wow, when to judge another person based on their human beingness, their anger, their frustration, their skin, their tears, their fears, like whatever it could be, is that we just dehumanize them. And this is how it looks. We find ourselves separating the loggers or the government, the politicians, like we find ourselves separating us from them, and it creates that duality of pain, suffering, violence. And it's that if we want to integrate, if we want to unify, if we want to love, we have to find those places inside of us that want a better life for our people. And the way, like, and actually acknowledging that some of our strategies to get our needs met might not be as loving. Like it's like, hey, if I want to correct someone's language constantly, I can see the value in that. And if I want to be more loving, it's accepting that person where they're at in their evolution. right? So I'm not saying that being harmful or violent or abusive is safe or even good, and I'm not promoting any of that. Like, I just want to make that clear. What I am saying is that even those people, we have to humanize if we want to make change. We have to humanize them and find love and compassion, acceptance for why they're doing what they're doing, the needs and values, the precious ones. I love that you let me just like banter. Wait, what do you call it? You call it wax poetic. That's what you call it.
Waxing poetic.
I guess so.
Mark, before I comment, Mark writes, perfect choices, Trish. I had a series of very deep lucid dreams where our recent president was a very great deep friend. It was amazing to get to know and love and understand him. Trauma. Remember the cause of the separation.
Yes.
Yeah. There's maybe, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, Saddam Hussein was a symbol of tyrannical dictator, horrible, evil human being. And if you want to have an interesting experience, it's very painful and challenging. Go to YouTube and go to, I forget what you would write, and just write Saddam Hussein hanging. Just before he got hung, one of the guards got out his cell phone and recorded the last minute or two of this man's life.
Oh.
And to see him so human, knowing he's in the final minute or two and he's really trying to maintain his composure and his dignity while facing death, and a painful death. It's really an amazing experience to see someone that we've so demonized. And I'm sure he did horrific things, but to see that demonized person in the absolute intensity of human terror and fear. It's a really interesting exercise. It's a very interesting exercise. And to bring it to, Trish said, okay, so underneath whatever anybody's doing, what is it? With most dictators or people that are powerful, that do things that are corrupt or evil. So, okay, so underneath, or I recognize that voice. Safety. They're seeking to meet their need for safety. Why did Saddam Hussein wipe out all of his enemies? It was his tragic attempt to meet his need for safety. When people have more, they have more money, they have more power, they have more to lose. The more you have to lose, the more desperate your need for safety, and control is a strategy to meet the need for safety. And so that's just an important thing to always remember when we are seeing somebody, whether it's our own personal boss or someone, and you go, wow, they're so controlling. Yeah, control is an attempt to meet their need for safety. Trish, before I put on the video from Antoinette, are there any final thoughts that you'd like to share?
I'm feeling really inspired by Ben and Summer and Jon and you, and how we're showing up in the world in deeper acceptance and compassion. This is where we're going. This is where we are, is to choose acceptance, to choose being with someone even in our own discomfort. Not to change them, not to force them to change, not to degrade them or criticize, not to, make them someone else, but to see where they're coming from. That's really inspiring to see that so many people, 700 volunteers in just one organization for a week-long conversation that touches almost it touches every continent, right? Like they're doing amazing work. I love those people, and I'm so excited to be part of Saturday Night Alive and Your Life and Straight Talk and Coach Academy. And I'm grateful to have found my community over COVID. And thank you, Scott.
Absolutely. Thank you, Trish. And again, just a reminder, everybody, go to worldunityweek.org, worldunityweek.org, and register. You will then get emails that'll show you how to go into the Sparkleverse and all the different rooms. And it's going to be really wonderful. And also one last reminder, tomorrow night's Saturday Night Alive, our keynote speaker is Matt Kahn. We've got Matt Kahn live is going to be with us, and we love Matt. And then all the other speakers are people participating in World Unity Week. We've got Christopher Malklin, Chief Dwayne Perry, Sadhvi Bhagawati Saraswati, Dr. Marty Casey. She's been on our show, Straight Talk.
Amazing.
And Adil, who runs Unify, Jon Sommer Ramer, Pato and Antoinette, Nina Gray, Gary Malkin, amazing musicians. So definitely join us tomorrow night, 6 o'clock live for Saturday Night Alive for the Global Peace Tribe. And I want to acknowledge Angie Lucido. She has been following me and our shows for a long time. And she writes a little bit earlier when you were talking about the challenge of walking in white privilege, getting woke, and what it feels to be Black. And I just want to acknowledge, she also talks about how hard it is for her to humanize Hitler. You know, that was triggering for her. And again, we're not ever, you can humanize someone, and that doesn't mean you're condoning any choices they've made, any behavior that they've had, right? You know, bring it back to us. Let's take it away from Hitler, us, right? We all make choices that have hurtful consequences. That doesn't mean we're evil or bad human beings. It means that we're having a perfectly human experience. We made a choice that had a hurtful consequence. If I make a choice that has a hurtful consequence on Trish, if she demonizes me, Scott, you're such an asshole, I'm probably not going to drop in to understanding the impact of my choice. I'm going to defend myself. But she says, Scott, I love you so much. But when you said that thing, the way I heard it was really hurtful. And I'm not making you wrong, but I'm wanting you to understand when I hear you use that word, it has that impact on me. See the difference? If she can point out that she's not making me as a being wrong, but helping me to understand a choice that I made and the consequence of that choice. That's how we transcend judgment. That's how we create unity.
Scott, can I make a request?
Yes.
Can you please tell the Dalai Lama story? It's perfect.
Okay. We will conclude with the Dalai Lama story and then Antoinette.
Yes.
So the tools that Trish and I teach are all about moving from reptile brain reactivity to frontal lobe responsiveness. And it really is the movement of the human species. And so let me put the spotlight on me. There we go. All right. So the Dalai Lama allowed brain researchers to hook up electrodes to his brain, and they tracked how his brain functions. And they ran tests for about 90 minutes and discovered that at all times, regardless of the input they were giving him, his synapses were firing entirely in the frontal lobe, or the forebrain, and the temporal lobe. This is where the empathy center of the brain is and the observer part of the brain. Now, towards the end of their research, they decided to test him. And so they showed him pictures of Chinese soldiers burning down a Tibetan temple. And asked him, how do you feel? Come on, tell us how you feel. What are you thinking when you look at these pictures? What are you thinking? What are you feeling? He wept. He wasn't stuffing his emotions. He wept. He cried. But his synapses continued to fire up here. The lead researcher decided to really challenge him and said, I really want to know, what are you thinking? What are you feeling when you think about Chinese soldiers raping Tibetan women, murdering Tibetan people? The Dalai Lama was silent for a very long time. Synapses continued to fire up here, though, not in the back part of the brain, up here. And then finally he spoke and he said, it reminds me that I must pray equally for the Chinese as I do for my Tibetan people. This is the movement of our species. People are going to say and do things that are hurtful. People are going to make choices that are going to have hurtful consequences. Even people we love, people we trust. This isn't to condone it, but it's to raise above the judgment, which just fosters more defensive, reactive, right? It's never useful to judge another being. Never useful. It's a way we've been programmed and trained. And so in honor of World Unity Week, to really practice unity, let's watch our judgments, starting with judgment of self. And since Trish asked me to tell the Dalai Lama story, I'm going to reverse it and ask Trish to share, how do we manage when we notice we're judging ourselves? What's your favorite tool that's so beautiful, Trish, that I'd love for you to share?
Oh, yeah. Because some of, like, I know this is a particularly triggering call tonight, and there was a lot involved. I am going to just drop this in. We're going to go through a tool, which is my favorite tool. And I am also going to say that when we judge another, it is a form of self-judgment. That when I judge Scott for whatever he may be doing in his own, human loving life, that it's something that I hold within me. And I invite you to ask, who's feeling the feelings? Well, generally, if I'm upset, I'm feeling the feelings. So it's me that needs to really self-source and find self-empathy. Because I know that if I can love myself deeper in the places that I judge others for, if I can judge myself, or if I can love myself there, that I can expand my capacity for compassion and love. And my definition of love is the radical acceptance of what is, the radical acceptance of who you are, of who I am. So even if you're not triggered, just go through this practice with me. It's going to take, I don't know, maybe 35 seconds of your beautiful life. And this is the one that has changed my life. And it's called the self-empathy tool. So I invite you to close your eyes just for a moment and take a nice deep breath in. And give yourself an opportunity to run a negative thought, maybe a judgment that you have on yourself or someone else. Take that moment and just run that first line. Who knows what it could be? I'm too, or they're, or he's a, just run the thought. Take a nice deep breath in. Go ahead and stop the thought. Drop your awareness down into your chest, into your feelings. And as you are in this space, and I know that we can't hear you, but I invite you to actually say what you're feeling out loud, to validate your feelings. Are you angry? Are you sad? Are you excited? What is that thought? What is it stimulating? What's the feelings? Try to be with yourself in that. And on the next breath, dropping down into your solar plexus, taking a nice deep breath in here. And what are your wants and needs? What are the values that are driving your feelings? So all human beings are driven by their wants, needs, and values. This is what stimulates the feelings. This is what stimulates the thoughts. Right? So if we walk it back down, we can really sit with what is the want or the need that is desperate to be met right now. Is it for safety, connection, acceptance, authenticity? Is it to be seen or heard, to belong? Give yourself an opportunity just to feel into that want. And even if another person is capable or willing, how can you meet that need for yourself tonight or this morning or where Ben is in the afternoon? How can you meet that need right now? And if you want help with understanding how to really walk this through and build this practice into your life, you can reach out to me or any of the love coaches of Love Coach Academy. But this is how we humanize another. This is how we humanize ourselves, is that we start to see, like, I don't just do this with myself, like, I don't know, it's now habit 50 times a day, maybe, that I do it with Scott too. Like if I'm pissed at Scott, which happens sometimes, I'm like, oh God, he called me at 9 a.m. Like, who does that? I get into my human body, I allow it to happen. And I say, okay, I run my self-empathy tool first on myself because I gotta calm myself down. What do I want and need? I want sleep, I want rest, I want fluidity in my day, I want my authentic expression. And once I've self-sourced that, is generally meditation or breath work or taking a shower or eating. Well, most of the time it's eating. It's to drop back into myself. Then I can be like, okay, what does Scott want? It was urgent for him. It's probably, he might be feeling, and this is where he might be feeling urgency. He might be feeling a sense of needing to get this out or excitement. Can I be with him in this excitement? And what is he wanting or needing? He wants connection. He wants to know that our projects are important to him, which is mostly true, usually. And really finding those places of like, okay, he wants collaboration right now. Okay. Is there a time and a space where I can say, hey, Scott, 9 is not really the time for me. I need coffee and a whole lot of me coming back into my body. Can we connect at 11? And I really want to know, I want you to know that I want to collaborate with you and our projects are important. So this is one of the tools that I use to not only humanize myself when I screw up or when I'm upset or when I be a human. Ew. And this is also the tool that I run on everybody else to make them human.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And yeah, I did a little practice right now and I got in touch with when I was agitated earlier today, and underneath agitation was sadness, and underneath that was the desire for connection and care. So it is a beautiful tool. It's a beautiful tool.
It's yours. Scott, it's your tool.
But you've taken it and made it your own, which is even better. Thank you, beautiful Trish. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And remember that if this is valuable, share it out on Facebook. Share it with your friends. That's how we meet new people. And stick around because I am going to play a pre-record from Antoinette, one of our favorite people. She right now, she and Pato right this moment are in Lake Elsinore on stage performing. They're doing this big, beautiful concert. So she pre-recorded this, but you can join her with me live on Sunday morning for the Sacred Sunday show. But this is her talking about Juneteenth and also about her wonderful cause, Stand Up for Justice, the Jane campaign, which we're going to start raising money for tomorrow. So please watch. I'll come back. I'm going to actually have a bite to eat while the video plays. And Trish, I love you so much. Thank you for being such a wonderful part of my life and being my partner in Straight Talk.
And a lot of other things. I love
a lot of other things, many other things. My teaching partner.
Well,
All right, here we go, everybody. Here is Antoinette. There we go. Antoinette, thank you so much for spending some time with us. And please tell us about what you're doing with Stand Up for Justice.
Thank you so much, Scott. So Stand Up for Justice, we've been doing quite a few different things. We started learning to lobbying class on Mondays, but now we're doing it once a month because we've started to start up our initiative for the Jane campaign. And so between that, the Jane campaign, And our brother Chris Odom with the Black Community of Portland, he still has his organization that does the weekly food box distribution with underprivileged families within the community. We also have the Bridging the Divide with Summer Joy, with the Compassion Games. So we do a monthly series with between Black and whites and all ethnicities actually on bridging the gap, bridging the divide, having open and honest conversations about racial relations here. And that's a monthly series that is actually being on live on Zoom, which everybody can see as you guys are part of the network, on the Sign Network. So everybody can actually participate. They can chime in, they can ask questions, they can hear thoughtful answers and responses. And also the Juneteenth celebration that we're actually hosting with the city, partnering with the city of Lake Elsinore, the Chamber of Commerce, and the Storm Stadium to bring together unity in the community, a big celebration, like a very large event instead of like several small events that are happening. So one huge major event to actually bring the community together.
Fantastic.
And then with the Jane campaign, this is the latest thing since we started last year, having our discussions with the police. Um, our friend, she's a single mother of an autistic child. And she was at one of the protests with us that we had there in the city. And we had two of them, very peaceful protests, as you'll see in the video, Stand Up for Justice. And you'll see the police are there, the mayor is there, the children are there, families are there. All the kids got a chance to be able to speak and say what was on their mind. And we started to develop a relationship with the local police regarding how they respond with special needs communities. As we started to have our conversations, I sent them some information that Portland was doing called the Cahoots program and another program on the East Coast called the Blue Envelope program. And what they do is they have an additional registry. And also, if you pulled over, you can just kind of hand them the blue envelope, which kind of gives them all the information that they need to know and how to proceed. And with the additional registry is that it flags the addresses. So if you get a call that they know that you have to go to this call with special care. I've noticed that in Denver, the STARS program actually mirrored it off of the Cahoots program. They went to Portland, they learned what they were doing. They've implemented this program like 2 months after the incident with Elijah McClain. And since then, they've taken over 800 calls with no arrests and no fatalities and no injuries. So
Wow.
that was a spectacular thing. And they did it so quickly. So I figured if they can do that, then why can't we do that here? And why can't we do this across the nation? So starting with our own local police department, they really love the idea. They said this is something that we can actually partake in and participate in, working together with the community. So they decided to take it even one step further and try to make it throughout the whole of Riverside County. And if we can get it all throughout Riverside County, that's what they're working on, is also to see if we can make this as a state bill, for the state of California. So this Jane campaign, even though she's not the poster child of son that has actually happened, I always like to think of preventative instead of like saying wait until something happens to your child and then get involved and do something. Let's be proactive and do something now. So this is for all the moms and the dads and the families who have special needs family members, and they want to protect their family, and just like the police want to protect themselves as well too, that we approach it with a better situation. So
Beautiful.
this is something I think that we can just continue working on doing. Thank you.
Beautiful. Well, we're looking forward to supporting it. I'm going to go back through one more time. So again, it's the money that we're raising for you tonight is going to Stand Up for Justice and specifically the Jane campaign. And of course, want to encourage everybody to go to standupforjustice.us and then /Jane campaign. And what a very powerful and an important topic. And I really appreciate you, as always, Antoinette. You always have your finger on the pulse of how we can come up with specific solutions to solve some of the big social problems we're facing. So thank you.
Thank you. And also to mention, it was actually at a Costco, there was an incident of a shooting last year of a special needs adult in Costco with an off-duty officer. And somehow an argument had broke out at the, where you get the taste food
Right.
You know,
Yeah. The
yeah,
samples.
the
Right.
samples. Right. So anyway, he punched the officer, and the officer pulled his gun and shot him. And when the parents turned around, they shot the parents too.
Oh my
So
God.
yeah, so they killed him and they killed the parents. They didn't even know what happened. They just turned around and they were in the hospital for months. So this was like a very big concern. And so when I asked the police about this, they said, well, there's certain training. So every police department is different. Some have training when it comes to recognizing, special needs, and some precincts don't. And so from what I was told, and I was like, so this is one of our questions. We have so many questions. It's like, we want to know, what is your training? How do you identify? How do you proceed? How can we do this non-lethal in different things? Because Jane's son, we take him out all the time. And he's like a bull in a china shop. If he wants some French fries at Golden Corral or whatever, and he's nonverbal, but he's such a lovable kid, but he doesn't even know his own strength, and he doesn't respond, to verbal commands or different things. So I feared for that. I was like, that could be her son, that could be anybody, at any age. So
And of course, we're celebrating and raising money for you this weekend because it is the weekend of Juneteenth.
yes.
And would just love for you to share for a minute or two about Juneteenth, a little bit about the history and how it's growing. The movement to make it a federal holiday is growing.
Yes, this is very important, because I actually didn't know about Juneteenth until more recently. These are things that wasn't taught to us in our schools and in our history books. And that's something that I also want to focus on, is as far as what is the state standards, because there was an incident in one of the other states where people wanted to opt out of Black History Month. They felt like it wasn't necessary for them to learn, but there was so much clapback and from the community and from the online community to say this is something. Black history is actually American history. This is all part of all American history. So it wouldn't be fair for their students or anybody for them to not have to learn about it. And then it made me think about what was the state standards. The state standards was, we were once slaves, and then Martin Luther had a dream. What about everything else? And we don't know anything about anything else. So after 14 years, I went to 14 different schools growing up. And out of those 14 different schools, I wasn't getting the kind of education and training that only some schools, which I've noticed, like they're teaching all these things like Howard Zinn education and different stuff. But for the most part, it's not even just the students, but I think a lot of teachers themselves need to go back to school in order for them to be able to teach it to their students. So Juneteenth, one of my favorite things was reading what does a Declaration of Independence mean to me? What does your 4th of July mean? And that was Frederick Douglass. And when you read this thing, it's very powerful. He basically told him off because he's like, why are you have me coming to speak about freedom and we don't even have freedom for ourselves? It's almost like an insult, but the way he said it was very eloquent, very poetic. He was a great orator, and that made me think about it. I was like, wow, he was very ahead of his time. He was really trying to bring people up to speed about why freedom and equality for all people, like in the Declaration, is supposed to be there for everyone. So we didn't actually realize that, because even though Abraham Lincoln had signed the Declaration of Independence on January 1st, 1863, that's when it was supposed to happen. It didn't take another 2 years until they finally got down into Texas, where there was 250,000 slaves still in slavery.
Wow.
So they didn't get the memo, the message, and they weren't really pushing things along. So that's really our Freedom Day. They kind of call it Freedom Day. They call it the Jubilee Day. They call it, and it was such a huge significance to sit there and say, now we finally, at least here's a start. Not to say that we all have equality right now, but at least here's a start legally that we all have equality and that all men are created equally and free.
Beautiful. Well, we thank you for all that you do. I wish I could snap my fingers and be at your June 18th event. I'm sure it'll be very successful.
I'm going to film as much as I can, maybe do a stream or something, but it's going to be fantastic. And, supporters who have been helping us support, because this came out of the love of Dr. Quinlan Strong. She's a member of the NAACP and also a member of our Stand Up for Justice. And she was there. Me and her were the ones who were leading the protests here in the city. It was her idea. She was the one who went and approached the city and said, I want to do a Juneteenth celebration here in our city of Lake Elsinore. And I want to do something at the stadium. So it was her drive and her willpower to convince them, because it's like, how do you get the city and the Chamber of Commerce and the stadium to sit there and agree on doing an event when we're only like 0.6% of the population, as far as Black residents. But this Juneteenth celebration isn't only for Black residents, it's also for everybody, because it is a community. Everybody should be celebrating the freedom and equality for everyone, supporting all the small businesses. And it is a unity in the community, because even though we're supporting Black business, we're also supporting local talent that is also mixed, and is showing that the unity can come together with the people within this, in the city of Lake Elsinore. So it shows the diversity. It shows the diversity of people coming together and supporting each other. And we really do need healing now. It's been such a divided time during the past year, whether it's political, whether it's medical, whether it's a lot of different things, or spiritual or religious, and all this tension and anger. And now we're coming out of COVID. It's like, now we can be outside, we can be socially distanced, we can be entertained, we could participate in some wonderful food, activities for the children, and just coming together and fellowship, so it's going to be a big event. So I'm really excited, and everybody is volunteering their time, but we do have to sit there and pay at least, support and staff and other things like that, but everybody else is donating. So whatever contributions that people want to send our way for us to have a successful event, I'm hoping that next year we can do a 3-day event. Great. Like some of the other big cities. Yeah.
We're going to do our best to raise what we can for you. And I look forward to hearing how the 18th goes for you. And we'll be in communication soon. Thank you so much for all that you do and for your time.
Thank you so much. Have a blessed night.
Hey, everybody. Wow, look at all of you people that are still with us. God bless you. I so appreciate that you're all still with us. Thank you so much. And a reminder that we are raising money. And actually, I asked her to create a GoFundMe specifically for this, and she did. And I just checked during this and saw the link. So it's a brand new GoFundMe. I'm going to contribute tonight, but you might beat me to it. You could actually be the first person to contribute to the Stand Up for Justice, donate. I'm going to put it into our little chat box here. So the money will go towards the Jane campaign. I am going to put it into the chat box here in Zoom, and then I'll post it on Facebook in a minute. And so if one of you wants to be the first one to contribute, that would be great. Thank you, Suzanne Marie. I sure appreciate it. And thank you, Waterfall. I agree, for standing up for forests, and Nancy standing up for how we use language. So please do support the Jane campaign, Stand Up for Justice. Please come back tomorrow night for Saturday Night Live. And again, if you want to hear more Antoinette, she will be with me live in person on Sunday on my Sacred Sunday show. And that's at 10 o'clock in the morning this Sunday. So please do join us. And happy Juneteenth, everybody. God bless all of you. Look forward to our next connection. Good night, everyone. I want to say the chat. And well, thank you for all the people saying goodbye. That's pretty cool too. All right. Good night, everybody.